And we're live. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Daily Whatever Show. It is Thursday, which means it's Fine Feminist Hour. So this is not Lawrence Winterman. Neither of these lovely humans are Lawrence Winterman. I am Dana DuBois, and I am delighted to be joined today by Zuri Stevens and by Zulfina from Letters from a Feminist. Ladies, say hello.
Hi everyone, I'm so excited. It's my second time back on the show. So
Yes,
I feel like home.
Oh, that's so nice of you to say. This is both of you are returning to the Daily Whatever Show. And Zulfina, you are my first guest to return to Fine Feminist Hour.
Oh wow.
So welcome. I almost feel like I'm someone who loves to connect people, like to host gatherings.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm kind of like feminist matchmaking today, where I'm like, Zuri, meet Zulfina. Okay, my StreamYard page just crashed. I hope we're connected. Zulfina will recall that the last time we went live, I had tons of trouble with StreamYard.
Yeah.
I'm going to open Substack.
I'm live, by the way. I just checked that I am live. Yes,
okay, good. So we are still streaming, I'm going to assume.
Yes,
Try again.
We are.
Wow, StreamYard is showing on my internet browser as completely gone, but we're connected here on my phone where we're talking. So this is all very exciting. I feel like so tomorrow morning is a new moon. And I'm going live tonight with Oceana and Karen, two other fine feminist ladies, to talk about the new moon. But this one is like a super scary, powerful one. Mm-hmm. I am not all that woo, but this has been my week all week. Like nothing is quite working. And it's a little bit daunting.
Dana, this new moon though is really excellent for new beginnings. So if you're beginning anything new, this is the type of moon that you want to have.
Okay,
that's beautiful.
It's just great for new beginnings or starting something new.
Wonderful. That is what I'm hearing. I am no expert in such things.
Me either.
But what we talked about it yesterday. Lawrence is really good with astrology. We're going to talk about it again tonight on Fine Feminist Hour. But and I read a few things, but what I'm seeing is that it's Aries, and so it's like whatever it is you think you want to do, you got to leap now. It has this very like figure it out after you leap, because it's a one-way door. Once you go through it, that's it.
Exactly. So I'm not an expert, but I have a friend, and whenever she wants to meet up, there always has to be symbolism behind it. So yesterday she sent me this like basically 20-page document about this new moon. And I was like, 20 pages? And I started reading it and I got so sucked into it, and it was just amazing. It was just like anything new, start it now, so yeah, it was worth the read.
Oh my God, I love it. Well, I want to come back around. I see Karen is in the chat. She is probably popping off with all kinds of information astrologically about what's going on. But we kind of just jumped right in. I would love for you two to each have a moment to introduce yourself before we get going, because boy, are we feminists having a hard news moment. We humans are having a hard news.
It's been a rough week.
Wow, has it ever? Zuri, why don't you go ahead and go first?
Yeah, so Zuri Stevens. I've been in Substack for the last, I think, over 3 years. I used to write on Medium before that. So my take on this, I studied sociology and did quite a lot of work in sociology. I'm thinking of even doing my PhD at this point. But what I found exciting about sociology was the feminist perspective, and how the feminist perspective didn't represent all women. And so that has sort of been the topic that I talk about. And I very rarely find media talking about things from the perspective of a woman, a Black woman, or a woman of color. So I write on Substack. I usually have a different perspective to what other people write, because I see things differently. If you look at the Lego videos, for example, and I'm sure, Zulfina, you also see stuff in those Lego videos that maybe other people don't see. So I write in Substack, we need a Black woman in charge. Gets me into a lot of trouble, but I'm never going to change that title, by the way, because I think it really speaks what Black women and women of color their leadership skills, what they can do and how they can help change the world. So that's me in a few words. And I'm so excited to have this call today. Like I barely slept all night because I was just so excited to be able to have this conversation.
Ooh. Oh my gosh. Well, I'm sorry I upset your sleep. I know how valuable it is, but I'm thrilled to be here. I think we've been trying to schedule this on and off since I think February, Zuri, because you got super sick and then I was super sick.
Yeah.
I'm thrilled that we are finally here. I will say you are quite echoey right now. If you have any way to direct your sound a little more into your microphone, I would recommend it. And if you can't, we'll take you echoey because anytime we get your words, I am thrilled about them. While Zuri is messing with settings, Zulfina, can you please introduce yourself?
Okay, hi everyone. I'm back here again. Thank God. I love being here. So my publication is called Letters from a Feminist, and I just started it this February, and it has blown up, and it's been an amazing journey so far. My work also is kind of, I feel like it's similar to Zuri, but I mean, I am a woman of color, but I don't really focus too heavily on intersectional feminism, which is something I'm trying to change. But I usually just like the news, as Zuri says, like, you know, Western media, it really stigmatizes feminism. So in my way, I try to just look at the news, what's going on in the like world right now, but just look at it from a more feminist perspective, a more gender equality leaning perspective. But I mean, I also love sociology so much. It's like my favorite thing. Like it's just such a like good subject to study, and that's how I also got into feminist theory as well. And Bell Hooks, Kimberly Crenshaw, Andrea Dworkin, Angela Davis, all the good stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, all the good stuff.
Oh my gosh, I love it. And Zulfina, I remember from our last talk that you are a student and that you are living in Dubai.
Yes.
Excellent. Zuri, I don't know where you live.
I live in
Are
so
you
many
in,
different places.
yeah, are you
Am
in
I still
Europe?
echoey? Am I still echoey?
A little bit,
You
but it's
are,
okay.
but it's okay. Let's just go with
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
So I live in different spots at the same time, you know. So I have my some of my family that lives in England, and then I have part of my family that lives in Seattle. So I sort of go in between, you know, and I don't work, as you probably read in my articles. So I spend time with my sister in Seattle, quite a bit of time, and then I spend time with my mom because she's elderly right now, so I spend time with her. So I sort of like navigate, and I'm a bit of that digital nomad right now, and just enjoying that life. And looking at the U.S. from the outside is sometimes pretty frightening.
Yeah.
Oh my
That's
gosh.
true.
Zuri, I live in Seattle. How did I not know that you're here part of the time? Can we please get coffee or something next time you're here?
Yeah, for sure. I love Seattle. It's my favorite place in the U.S. So
Oh my
definitely.
gosh. That would be like, it would be like meeting a movie star, like seeing you not on a screen would be wild.
I did a lot of work with the Gates Foundation, and that's what my sister lives there, but I did a lot of work in global health, and that's my connection to Seattle. It was through work and then through my
Oh my
family.
gosh. I very briefly worked there as a contractor years ago.
Wow.
Small world. That has always
I was
seemed
gonna
like
just
an
say that. Small world.
aspirational place to work. Although honestly, I'd rather work for Melinda French Gates these days at Pivotal than work at the Gates Foundation, given
I had
Melinda
a hard,
French Gates is kind of
yeah, I agree. I've had a really hard time with the whole thing. You know, it's been really difficult because
yeah,
this was somebody I really believed in, and then to see what he was actually up to has been really difficult, I must admit. Yeah,
I know.
so
Well,
that's me.
yes. And it is crazy how we humans can contain multitudes where you're like, wow, you're working to eradicate malaria. You have you are a billionaire whose goal is to give away most of your money. These are great things. And also there you are next to Epstein on these claims.
Yep.
Speaking of the news cycle, oh, I'm echoing.
Uh-oh.
I think it might be coming from you, Zuri, or one of you. Just
Is it? Am I echoing still?
this is me echoing through, like the sound is
Yes.
coming back.
I'll turn off my mic and we'll see if that works.
Okay.
Oh, it's
Okay,
better.
that works. Okay.
Great.
Yeah.
Phew. Okay. So it's not a daily whatever show if we don't have some technical issues. One day, y'all, wouldn't it be great to have, like, to be able to hire someone who has expertise in this area, who can have the mic set up and and all we have to worry about is what we're saying? Like, can we just take a pause for the three of us, but for all of the small stackers who are here every day going live, and we're doing every single role in a newsroom. We're running the technology, we're booking the guests, we're preparing, like, that's normally a fleet of people and the talent just have to show up and
Yeah.
be the talent. But we're doing it all. And I don't know that that gets acknowledged enough. So yeah, go us.
I will say though,
I
Dana,
yeah,
StreamYard is really complicated because I just feel like it's just easier to operate and I don't have echoes and all of that. And I probably need a better system. But yeah, has its own challenges. But
it does.
it
It's like a
does.
step more, it's a step more complicated. And it might have to do with the fact that you're on a browser with it, and then so it's playing back. I'm not sure. But it is nice the way it broadcasts out. It can simulcast out to multiple channels. We are live on Facebook Live. We are live on YouTube right now. Hello to anyone out there. And we are also, of course, live on Substack. Which is nice to be able to stream to multiple platforms for when we take over the world. But I wanted to shift from that feeling of heartache around seeing a male leader like Bill Gates and seeing some uglier sides of him, and just take a moment to acknowledge what a hard news week, even a news half a week that we're in so far, that we're
We're
always in the
literally
shadow.
still on Thursday, and this is
Yeah,
what we're doing.
right? Like we're dealing with the fallout of Eric Swalwell and his accusers coming forward credibly with these like devastating accusations, and reading about the rapes that he committed, the way he drugged these women and raped them, these women who were working for him or women he was kind of mentoring,
Yeah.
which just makes it all the more despicable. And then we are hearing about, we come on to, I don't know about you, but first thing Monday, I log into Substack and I'm like, Andrew fucking Tate is the #1 bestseller on Substack. Cool
He's not
Substack,
anymore,
which,
actually.
yeah, now he's like 3 or 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Still not great that we are platforming, echoing again. Does everybody else hear me echoing? If it's just me, I can ignore it.
Yeah, me too.
You hear it too? Yeah, can you mute your browser, Zuri? Because I think that's it. That's better. Whatever you just did, that fixed it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, that's just using my microphone, so I will be able to speak. That's all.
Okay.
That's all I'm doing.
So we'll take turns.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. I will finish my lead in and I think
Uh-oh.
Zuri has left the room. Oh no, hold on. Okay, at least my StreamYard seems to be back up and running. Hopefully Zuri comes right back. I will wait for her.
Yeah.
But Zulfina, we will talk here around. So the news cycle, we've got Eric Swalwell, as we were saying, we've got Andrew Tate. And then last night, I saw the CNN breaking story about.
Can you honestly like just talk about it? Because I've just heard about it and I'm still in shock. I can't wrap my head around it. Can you just like break it down?
Yeah,
like, we're lost.
online, yes, online rape academy. Those are the words that CNN used. I don't have the story pulled up in front of me. I read it right before I went to bed last night, and that was not smart. Don't read about online rape academies right before you go to bed, you guys. But the story goes that CNN did a bit of an expose diving into this. They called it a community repeatedly. The men who are in it feel like it's a community, and it's a community of men who are really into, what did they call it? It was like sleep porn or sleep rape.
I think it's called. There is a kink and it's called somnophilia. I'm not sure, but it's basically when you're not like attracted to someone who's unconscious and you're doing it while they're unconscious. And obviously, it's non-consensual. And I have the story here right now, and it's.
Yeah. Wow. It was they didn't use a big fancy word. They used like sleep rape, but I don't think the second word was rape. It started with sleep, but it's a hashtag that they're using within this porn site that has community features, and these men
sleep content. content, sleep content.
Maybe it's just sleep content,
Yeah.
which sounds so nice. I would love to read some sleep content. Sleep is so important. But no, this is sleep content about how to drug your significant other so that they are unconscious. And so you can violate them, you can rape them while they are asleep and film it and share the film for fun and profit.
I'm just looking at it
That-
right now, and there is a trend. It's called I check tag, and it's frequently used in the
Yes.
so-called sleep porn communities to categorize videos which indicates a woman is asleep. So you basically pull up her eyelid and you can see that it's
Yes.
rolling back, so she's asleep. Wow.
And not just asleep, but unconscious.
Drugged.
She's like,
drugged.
yeah, she's asleep in a way where she will not wake up. So we can first talk about they interviewed a man who is selling the drugs online. I forget from where, but he's offering, I think it was $175 a pop. And you give this to your woman in her evening tea, or better still, in her out with alcohol, and it will guarantee she won't wake up. So these men, and what was really shocking in reading the case studies, because they interview the women, it's like 3 women who came forward and they tell their stories, and it's their husbands or their long-term partners.
This
This
is
is
someone
not-
you trust yourself going to bed with, and this is what they're doing.
Yes.
It actually
yay,
reminds me
here's
of
Zuri.
that. Yay, you're back.
Hi,
I'm back.
Zuri.
I don't think
Oh,
the echoes.
it's much better. I
It
think.
works. Yes. That's
Right.
great.
And
That's
we're
great.
talking about the CNN story about the online rape academy, and the way that there is a community of millions and millions. They said 62 million viewers. I'm going to assume most of them are men
Visits.
or visits.
Yeah.
So perhaps some of these men are repeat visiting. So let's
Yeah.
conservatively say 30 to 40 million men, about larger than the size of the population of Canada.
Oh my God.
In February, the shortest month of the year, visited the site. And
Oh my
the hashtag
God.
they're using is sleep porn, because they drug their wives, their partners, to the level where they will not wake up, so that they can have sex with them while they are unconscious, and they can film it and share the videos with their community for fun and sometimes for profit.
And the porn site is called motherless.com.
Yeah, motherless. Isn't that something?
Oh my God.
Like that is I can't even get into that name.
I
So
I don't even know what to say. Like, this
I
is
know.
so shocking, but at the same time, it reminds me of this one case in France. I don't know what her name is. Something
Yes,
with a G.
Dominique.
Giselle Federico.
Yes, her. And her husband has had so many. I don't even remember the statistics, but it was just, the whole case was just harrowing.
I
Yes,
read
and I
her
believe.
book.
Oh, sorry, Zuri, you go ahead.
Yeah, I read her book, and it was a tough read, but somehow I think when I was reading that book, I sort of said to myself, this is just something rare. It doesn't happen all the time. This is just like an exception. And yesterday, when I read the article on CNN, I realized that it's sort of becoming more of a rule than an exception, this type of thing. So
Yeah.
it's shocking. It's shocking. But her book is really, really interesting because she's a very strong person who manages, or, who manages to sort of get over what happened to her. But now understanding that so many other people, so many of the women are going through the same thing, and some of them don't even know that they're being drugged, I think is just so disheartening.
That was reading the case studies in the CNN story. They were all from women describing husband or partner abuse, and how none of them remember the assaults, which I suppose is a silver lining. One of them said she kept waking up in like different clothes and with a towel under her. But then her husband, when she said what is going on, said, "You're taking too many medications. So what's wrong with you? You can't remember things." He accused her of causing the memory gap when he was the one drugging her. Yeah, it was like, I posted about this last night and I probably could have used more of my words. It's just so horrifying, and it's after a week of lighter horrors, but still very significant horrors on this same topic of just rape. I mean, we always say sexual assault because it's easier to say in mixed circles, but like,
It's like a
let's
euphemism almost.
it is. It's like saying reproductive freedom, because abortion started sounding so harsh in our ears politically years
Yeah.
ago. And I do feel like letting go of the word abortion is part of the reason we're losing the access, because people stopped saying it. They made it like a harsh word. So I think we need to just say, like, this is rape. I mean, there's no ambiguity here at all. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
the only
And
ambiguity is legally in some of these countries or even states. I believe it is, this may not be illegal between married people. That's my only worry. I think in the states,
yeah.
actually, all 50 states, it is illegal. Or at least it is, a husband can rape his wife. I think that was in 1994 that became the law, that it's even possible to consider. Before then, if he was your husband, it was fine.
Yeah.
Um,
And there's this one comment that I saw is like at the trial involving Giselle Pelicot, not a single man admitted to being a rapist, not one. Worse, each of them was shocked to be considered as such, claiming to be a victim of being labeled as a rapist. And this is despite hundreds of classified and archived videos. Like, and then this same pattern can be found in so many other countries, right? Like thousands of ordinary men. But I just don't feel like it's just like what kind of example are we setting in for other generations, for younger, teenagers who are growing up and looking at this?
we're not setting good examples. We're giving them a manual. Like, this is a community where they share videos, but it's also where they share instructions.
Yeah, exactly.
And they sell the medication.
Yeah, I think that if you sort of dig deeper, I think, this behavior is a symptom. It's a symptom of a disease that is a much more, I think, worrisome disease. It's a really bad disease. And I think that if you read about Giselle Pelicot, and if you read what psychologists say about this behavior, because it's basically having sex with an inanimate object in a way.
Absolutely.
Why do these men want to be engaged in sexual relations with somebody that's almost dead? And I think that there is something very dysfunctional and very concerning about that. Is it the ultimate act of violence in a woman? Is it the ultimate act of desecrating a woman? It is the ultimate act of violence against a woman, against a female's body. And so it's very worrying to me what that means for our girls, out there in the world. Because the first thing I said to my husband this morning, when I read the article last night, he was asleep, and this morning I told him about it. And I said, and we have a girl in the world. And it took him a little bit of a few minutes to really understand what I was saying. But I'm like, I have a girl in uni. She's in these environments where this type of thing can happen. So, as a mother, I'm thinking, wow, I have this little human being out there that I love. And it's almost as if she's in such a dangerous environment in a world where men want to enact violence against female bodies. And that, for me, is extremely concerning.
It is, yeah. I mean, I
totally.
think the one you said about like psychologically, like men literally want to have it with an like unresponsive object. Like they just don't even want the human side of it at all. Like there's like such a huge disconnect. Like for me, I was talking about this yesterday, but I feel like men in the patriarchy, they're trained to be like half human. They aren't able to feel like the full spectrum of human emotions. They aren't able to form any connections, and it's just insane. Yeah,
I know. And I love what you just said there, Zuri, about what's the why behind this? Why this trend? Why now? Because we usually think of rape as being a violent act, of
Yeah.
taking something that they want, and the fight seemed part of it, and it's from a stranger, someone who won't consent to you otherwise. These are women who willingly consented. They consented to spending their lives with these men. So
Yeah.
I think like what I see in this possibly as the cultural question, why this trend is catching on, is it's about control. Is that what this is for these men? Is that like with women these last few decades having made so much progress, we're seeing now politically that it's starting to roll away. Women like us here, like all of you here in the chat, we're fighting back, we're using our voices. Is this collectively just a way to literally silence us and to take the ultimate control away? They're removing our consciousness, and then while we're not it hasn't happened to me, but
Yeah.
it's all of us. When we read this, we all feel it, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
That they have removed our consciousness, and then while we're in that ultimate compromised cannot say no state, they are defiling them, and then they are sharing it with their online buddies, and then they're making money on it. Like it's so many layers of removing our humanity.
It's just male violence. Yeah.
Who left you prophesying? Who even thinks of this, right? I don't think we'll ever know who started it, because there were 62 million visits in a month. How do you find the kingpin? I don't know. And how do you, yeah, I was gonna say, how do you prosecute it? But I'm like, one video at a time. I mean, the good news is the women in these stories, the profiles that CNN did, they got legal justice. One of them, the man, her husband killed himself before he went to trial. Another, they're serving prison sentences, and significant ones. Like one of them was 8 years, another one I think was much longer. So, and of course they've lost their wives and their families. They've lost access to them. So,
I think just to jump into your question about why do men like even want to share this with other people, I think the far right pipeline is something that's so accessible for young men every single day. Like it's something like I've seen the process, or like I've researched about it. It's just men, they find community within, they just see it as their friends basically, like, and it's like a very gradual process. First they start off with laughing at a few rape jokes, and then they'll be invited to special group chats and forums, and then like that slow, like the process of normalization happens in a like a span of time. But once they're in it, they just can't like get out, because if they have to get out, that means they'll lose everything.
I think also added to that, when I read about stories of gang rape, for example, I cannot imagine women gang raping somebody, because I don't think that we're built that way. But
no.
men actually engage in gang rape because, as you're saying, it's part of the community. It's a group of friends. They're doing all of this together, and then you don't tell anybody because then you're seen as a snitch. But I think also the fact why they share these videos, they're like trophies.
Yeah.
Men have always been like sort of violent, going to war and getting the scalp of somebody and this and that. And I think that these videos are like trophies, and they're like, look, I've done this 10 times. I'm winning.
Yeah, and just to jump in, it's for other males' validation as well. It's not even for themselves. It's just to show off to other men who have the same thinking. Like, hey, look what I did. What about you? It's like a competition almost.
Exactly.
100%. I'm laughing my Gen X dark little laugh over here of like, hey, this is not a good solution to the male loneliness epidemic we're reading about.
Oh
The
my
fact that
God.
men don't have friends, men find better friends. These are not your friends.
Honestly,
Ah,
sorry to cut you off, but
no,
the
you're
male
good.
loneliness epidemic is just like, I feel like I mean, it is true in a way, but I don't think it's 100% only men are lonely. I've seen this survey in USA, it took place, and just seeing how lonely men and women feel, and it's 16% of women feel lonely and 17% of men feel lonely. So there's like a 1% difference, like if you're looking at that statistic alone. And I just feel like the whole media focusing on men and their loneliness just pivots completely away from what we're feeling. And I mean, definitely, yes. I mean, men do, obviously, they are fuel that are consumed by the patriarchy, but at the same time, it just feels ingenuine.
Yeah, and it's some of it is it's cultural, but it's behavioral. And it's like, you know why you're lonely and women are lonely and let in smaller numbers is like women foster friendships, we have hobbies, we volunteer. We're like it's I find this in dating. Like I can't tell you how many men I've known over the years who just literally have no friends. They maybe have coworkers, but the older they get, the harder it is to find friendships. And I understand they're coming up against big cultural forces. It's not natural like it is for women to just be like, let's go get a coffee. Like I said to Zuri, you know, when you're in Seattle, let's get together. But um, women do this more, and it makes it harder to date because you don't. As you get older, I've had friends who are like, go meet men in the wild, and I'm like, men don't go out in the wild. Like I like going to. There's a few nonprofits here in Seattle I like to support, and one of them just had their big gala. And I know someone who was a friend who was like, oh, that should be a great place to meet men because they're going to be men who are interested in the arts, men who, you know, are of a certain income level because they can afford to go and they think philanthropy is important. And I'm like, there will be no single straight men at this event. I've been 4 years in a row. It is men who are with their wives or girlfriends, and it is gay men. Straight men simply, even if this is Seattle Arts and Lectures, even if they're avid readers, they just like I couldn't even fathom 3 straight men being like, let's put on our best suits and go to a gala. Right? Like where women will be like, oh my God, an opportunity to get dressed up and eat delicious food and hear really brainy people read. That sounds amazing.
Yeah, it
So,
reminds me of this joke. What I hear on, social media is like men can know each other like for years and not know what their favorite color is,
right.
or their birthdays. It's like the most simple thing. I feel like when men are friends, they just hang out with each other and do the same hobby. They don't actually connect at all.
I think also, you know, like with a lot of the feminist work I do, you know, I look at this issue, these rapes, you know, and I think to myself, how can we fix this? You know, what are the solutions? How can we bring men and women back together? Like, how do we do this? Because I see this divergence, and I just because I sit here as the mother of a boy and a girl, and
Oh, yes.
yeah, and I see how my son, you know, meets the world. And it's not easy. You know, it's really not easy for him. He was dating somebody, it didn't work out. He's very sensitive. And, you know, he was saying, but how do real men, you know, and his dad is, you know, my husband is very much, you know, his mother raised him very well. He helped me out with everything. So, but I see this thing where my son sometimes just sits there with his head in his hands and is like, it's so hard being a man in this world. And I'm trying to find ways for him. I'm trying to get mentors. I'm trying to find coaches that will help him. But I think there are a lot of men that want to be good men, but they just don't know how to do it. And they don't have, and then there's the Andrew Tates and all these other rapists online that are like, you want to be a good man, do this. So, like, how do we find that path for boys that want to be good men to become
Yes.
good men?
That's such an important question, honestly. And that's the questions I don't really see much in like mainstream feminist spaces. As much as feminism is about liberating women, but it's also liberating all genders from the patriarchy. And that's a question we need to be having more often. And to answer that, I think it has to do with creating that environment where we normalize men holding each other accountable and like opening up to each other, and that's the work men
Yes.
have to put in themselves too, but we also have to foster that as mothers, as sisters, as girlfriends, and all of that.
Yes, and I see there's my chat crashed a long time ago, which means y'all are putting in a lot of comments. So thank you. I haven't refreshed it because I wanted to keep these 2 comments here. One is from Dale, who just asks, "How can I help?" And Dale, I just want to say, like, um, small but meaningful ways to help are confront men when you see them
Yes.
saying disrespectful things, or whether it's online or in real life, to just be like, that's really, you know, no, don't do that. And here's why. Like, you don't have to be even be angry, you don't have to be aggressive,
Yeah.
but to just at least quietly say no. That's not okay. Elevate women's voices in real life and also online. I do want to shout out, like, I know so many amazing men here on Substack who are actively doing
Yeah.
this work. Like, I'm thinking about
I'm gonna
Frederick
shout
Pogue. I'm
out.
thinking about Nick Perro.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about Eric Lolove. There's so many of you guys. Jason Odell. Like, I'm forgetting a million people, but Nick in particular has a whole show about positive masculinity, and he brings all these guests on to model it. Substack, that's who should be on your #1 bestseller list, not Andrew fucking Tate.
Yeah.
And we don't platform rapists, Substack. I mean, you do, but like, please don't don't platform rapists. I know it's all about money at the end of the day. There are plenty of people on Substack to make plenty of money from
Yeah.
without
Exactly.
platforming credibly, putting my legal hat on, credibly accused rapists and human traffickers like Andrew Tate.
I was just gonna mention that he's literally a human trafficker who was on trial. I think, was he?
Yeah, I think he has not been convicted yet. I don't think the trial is done.
Well,
But
that's how
there's
that he hasn't been convicted.
yeah,
But he
slow
was
moving.
in Romania. He's actually actively, I think, in England, they're sort of also trying to extradite
Yeah.
him, bring him over. He is such a loser. And I know him. I don't know him personally, but I am very familiar with everything he does because
Yeah.
I had, my son at one point, asked me about Andrew Tate, and I realized a lot of boys in school were listening to Andrew Tate. So I made it my business to find out everything that Andrew Tate was saying and doing. And yeah, it's for the money. You're right. He says the most outrageous things, but it's all for the money. It's all to make money.
It is. And Substack is like, yeah, let me have 10% of those subscription dollars, but I don't know how we fight it. I know there's been a lot of us squawking about it. I got a lot of auto-generated emails, as we all did, about thank you for reporting, but I hope something comes from
They
it.
don't
I
actually do
doubt it.
anything about that.
Mm-mm.
I've reported so many people here who have spread hate on my account, but on others as well. And I don't know. I guess Substack doesn't really prioritize humans over profit, I guess.
No, Substack does not. I want to read this comment before I hit refresh. That this is from Kelly Winsa. Oh, sure, go ahead.
Yeah, Andrew Tate's content is crap. So it's all new, and everybody's like, oh, he's done stuff. But when you start reading his stuff, you're going to see it's just total crap. So people aren't going to be excited for long. I don't think it's going to, it's going to take up the way he thinks it will. Anyways,
I hope not. He doesn't seem like an eloquent long form writer, but it also doesn't seem like Substack is prioritizing that. If he can write some incendiary notes, he'll probably do just fine, just because he's Andrew Tate. But I don't know. I hope you're right, Zuri. I hope he gets bored and runs off at a minimum. I would rather see a proactive stance from Substack. What that would signal to women and well, everyone around the world if they were just like, we made a
considering
mistake.
how Instagram and YouTube and I don't know if he's
Yeah.
on Facebook, but this is like most of them just kicked him off. It was simple as that.
There's plenty of, right. It's not like Substack has to be an outlier. Just follow the leads of your other broligarch billionaires and just kick them off. I want to read this comment from Kelly Winza that says, it's kind of a long one, but Dr. Bandy Lee's Substack. I'm not familiar with Dr. Bandy Lee. There's a comment from a psychologist who called it selection. This was that idea of community building in this awful rape community. Select membership works in groups based on their psychopathic traits that may flourish, and then facilitation is exposure to psychopathic behaviors, and that reinforces or facilitates more psychopathic behaviors. And then the stage 8 process, I don't know what that means. But this is a research project she's doing. I hope you write about this, Kelly, because I don't know too much about what you're writing about, and it sounds very interesting. But what I'm hearing in it is once a community like this starts with these outright psychopathic tendencies, it finds the right people who then start training and positively reinforcing more psychopathic behavior, which is terrifying. And I do want to give, I'm constantly harshing on the legacy media and the harm they're doing, especially to women. But like, bravo, CNN.
Honestly, yeah, I never thought I would say that, but
I thought it was fake news, Dana. When I got it, I said, fake news, and I was reading it, sort of like, where are we going to spot the fake news element? So I couldn't believe it until when you sent it that I really said, okay, this must be true.
Yeah, it was, I mean, I don't think it was fake, and um it was written in a, like, it was dark, like it had that beautiful just visually beautiful
Yeah.
intro for the storytelling component, where you had to kind of click down and it was on a really dark screen. It gave a very big trigger warning at the beginning. um it was really nicely done, CNN. It had the women's stories, and then you could click in to read even more of their stories, which I have not yet done. It was right before bed. It was enough to just read
We have to do more research on this because we cannot ignore this at all. Yeah.
no. So I hope that this is I fear this is just gonna be one of those things that people are like, yeah, something about an online rape school, cool. It's gonna get swept away in the news cycle. And that's why, like, we were supposed to be talking about intersectional feminism, which I think we should pivot and talk about next. But I'm like, I'm so angry at the news cycle putting all these horrors in front of us, so that we have to stop and address them. And it doesn't allow us to do the work we're planning on doing, because we're addressing the fact of, like, hey, in February, 62 million visitors went to a sleep rape forum or website and watched or shared or learned how to drug their women and rape them when they were unconscious. Like, mostly in the US, but it's worldwide, but it's mostly in the US, the visitors. That is a horror. And then Angie is saying, ladies, please discuss how young men are being groomed to the Groyper type movements through gaming. And so many parents are in denial of this.
What a great question. I don't know. I think Zuri should answer that.
I don't have sons, and I do know that gaming is a big problem, but I don't know that I have expertise to share here.
It's absolutely horrible. So from my perspective, it's lived experience. I have a son and I have a few nephews that are sort of gamer age. And the thing is, you have two parents working 24/7 literally. And, the kid has a video game, you just think it's, I'm Gen X as well. We used to have like just easy video games, nothing
Right?
complicated. Pac-Man, for example. So
Yeah,
I think
Donkey Kong and Pac-Man, totally fun little ghost. Num 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 num.
exactly.
Harmless.
So I started just alerting my colleagues, my family to the fact that a lot of these video games were just like GTA, for example. That is one of the most disgusting games. I mean, they have, sex workers in the game. And so you have a 12-year-old driving a Ford GT and basically stopping to pay a sex worker. So like, and I think what I would say to parents is, please look at what you buy your kids. Sit with them while they're playing these games. Just sit there and see what the games are about. Don't just assume it's just like, Donkey Kong, because it isn't. So whether it's
Right.
Call of Duty, which is a very violent game, horrible, teaches men violence, or whether it's GTA, Gran Turismo, those are things that parents need to monitor. We can't just like give somebody a game and just sit back and say enjoy it. We have to play a much more active role, despite being overwhelmed with work and burnout and all the things that parents need to do. Because often, I'm like in the sandwich generation, so my mother's an older person, so I had young kids and an older mother at the same time, and I just felt stretched in between all the time. But you still need to think about your kids in the future and
Yeah.
really monitoring what they're consuming. That's what I would
Yeah.
say. Even
Yeah.
Yeah, and
grandparents
as a
can do
Gen
this as well. Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
no, go ahead. Did you finish? Yes, okay. So so I mean as a Gen Z I see this so like my peers, like these men, like boys, like they stare at the screen for like, if they're not at school or at uni or whatever, they're like staring at the screen for like 6+ hours, and all the games. And you also have like the chat play part, and then you have like people sending you to forums or sending you to group chats or websites. And on TikTok especially, I see a lot of people who are like streamers, and they just constantly promote like far right ideologies. Or especially I've seen so many like women who are like streamers, and they play games, and they just like the minute they're on it and they talk with their voice, like all the boys just go crazy with the insults. And the just violent behavior. And I think internet has a role in this, social media has a role in this, but it's definitely parents do not monitor what kids are doing outside of school enough, honestly. Yeah.
Zuri, I think we're in very similar situations of like Gen Xers who have Gen Z kids and then aging parents,
Exactly.
and working or looking for work and all the things. I have two daughters, and they have both been on social media for quite some time now. They're 16 and 18, so they're getting older, and it's such a hard. They both will sit all day and like just listen to YouTubers in the background, and the ones they're listening to are pretty innocuous. Um, but I always struggle with this because there's part of me that's like, I wish I hadn't given them a phone so early and social media so early, because they're like this so much. And also how I don't want them to be outliers in their generation. And how my advice for parents is very similar to what you're saying of like, pay attention to what's happening there, ask, don't be like, oh, you kids, and dismiss it. Like I'll sit down and every now and then, like we'll have YouTube on the big screen and I've watched some of their streamers and I'm like, and we'll talk about what they are talking about. Mostly what I'm combating is like, these women don't like, this is not how they naturally look. Even Gen Zs who they're watching, I'm like, they've had surgery, they're getting a ton of work done, because I worry about what they're visually being shown as an ideal. But what boys are up against, like mothers of boys are up against, is so hard.
Yeah.
It's so hard to insert yourself in that space, especially as they get older,
Yeah.
and to challenge it.
There's so much. I saw it on my son's social media, and he wasn't like necessarily, you just social media putting pictures of the cat, the dog,
Yeah.
but he was getting messages from porn sites and sex workers, and they were like, "Send me $5," and I was like, "Oh my god!"
What?
Yeah, it's so crazy. From all over the world, he was getting messages from people in Nigeria that were like, "Oh, I want you to be my boyfriend. You're handsome." He was like 11 years old. He was 11 years old. So, like, Dana, I'd come back to what you said, because I gave them phones early. I let them go on social media early. If I had to do it again, I think I'd do it a lot later.
Yeah.
Because I somehow feel not guilty, because I didn't want them to be outcast either,
Yeah.
But
And there was
now,
a pandemic in the middle, you may remember, that it was like, this is how they keep in touch with their friends while they're isolated.
exactly.
Yeah, but at the same time, I feel like I get these messages as well, and it's literally proven in the court on trial. When Meta was on trial, New Mexico court, they basically impersonated a 14-year-old girl, and within minutes there were predators in her DM. So this is like systemic. This is not like, oh, someone just texted me. Like, this is literally probably bots and all of that. But I just feel like parents also need to educate themselves on how these platforms work before their children get on them. But at the same time, it's kind of like the children get on there. It's like inevitable. Even if you like try to get them off of there, they're gonna find a way. They're gonna find a way to rebel. They'll go on, I don't know, the school's Chromebook or something like that, or their friends, and yeah.
It's yeah, I'm sure every generation feels this sense of like, oh my God, things are so much harder now. But
Oh,
it really feels like things are escalating in a way that's terrifying. And that's why we're here. And we're like sounding the feminist call of like, hello, women are here and we're not putting up with all of this. We're not going down easily. I do want to shift the topic a little. I know we're getting toward the top of the hour. I had like a whole bunch of questions I wanted to ask about intersectionality while we have these three very different lived experiences and voices here on this call. But I'm really glad we dug into these stories, because it makes me feel a little bit better talking through them with you. It's helping me process it. I feel like I have a bit more vocabulary now, because last night you can see my note. I'm just like, 62 million people is the population of France.
Yeah.
The magnitude of it was so big.
Yeah.
But yeah, do you mind if I shift topics and kind of ask you guys a question or two, hopefully, before we I'm trying to think of which ones of these I want to dig into. I think this is a really big one. I work at a corporate job in addition to my work here on Substack, and we see DEI rollbacks accelerating. We're seeing DEI being treated as almost a bad word at this point in the US. What is the practical effect on women at multiple marginalized intersections, right? We're both women, and in your cases, more than mine. I'm only marginalized because I'm older at work, but I recognize my privilege with having a white face. What does this feel like being at the intersection of multiple marginalized spaces as DEI is being rolled back? I don't know which one of you might want to take that question first.
I can take that
Go ahead,
question.
Zuri. Go ahead.
I'm living it right now. So
Yeah.
I am a Black woman and I am old as well. So I'm faced in both ageism and racism and sexism. And in the beginning, I was like, what am I going to do? Like, I'm 55, what am I going to do? And I lost my job and I was just really, really, really worried. I had an immense amount of panic at that point. And then I found community. I found a number of Black and brown women who were in the exact same situation, who are still going out and starting businesses and they're using their skills and they're being consulted. And actually, I'll tell you, I've never been as happy as I am right now. So I really
That's
just
beautiful.
made, lemon juice out of lemons, or whatever you want to call it. But sheer panic and seeing a lot of people that look like me losing their jobs. Like, the statistic, 700,000 Black women have lost their jobs in the US since Trump came back to the White House. And this is
That is,
just in the public sector. But I was in meetings when Trump came in, and people were afraid of showing me. They were afraid of showing that I was a Black woman. And because I'm called Zuri Stevens, Rebecca Stevens, people sort of thought that I was white and English. But when they sort of tried to hide me because they were so afraid that they would be accused of DEI.
oh my
So
God. You mean your employer was afraid to like put you on calls?
yeah, because I worked in a very public affairs space. So they were really afraid about sending me to the government authorities, Capitol Hill or Washington, D.C., because they were so afraid of being accused of doing DEI. So we
Oh my
came from a
God.
place where when I was younger, it was hard to get a job because I was a Black woman. Then the 2000s, I was, everybody wanted to hire me. Your DEI, you do public health, you've been working in public health for 20 years, great.
And
See
you're
that?
brilliant. Let's just say that too. Like,
Thank you so much. Last year, where people were ashamed of having someone like me.
oh my
And that
God.
was so difficult. Mentally, it was really, really hard. But now, community, which is what Black and brown women do, build community, and I feel so comfortable talking to women that are going through the same thing and just finding solutions to survive, because that's what we do. We're trying to survive, and I think we're going to be okay. But it was
Good.
a lot of women have lost their jobs, and many of us, like I was the main breadwinner in my family. So when I lost my job, I did have a moment of panic. I was like, what am I going to
Yes.
do? But, hey, little by little, you find other sources of income. You have multiple sources of income, and you make it work.
Mhm. Oh my God,
That's
Zuri,
great.
we should talk. I have chronic PTSD from how many layoffs I have lived through in my career in corporate tech, and I'm also 55. Are we both 1970 babies?
1971, just
1971. Okay, so I'm 1970.
yeah.
But still, we're the exact same age effectively, though I don't know how that's possible because look at you, my God. We need to trade beauty secrents and
I
we need
swear,
to
I thought
trade
you were in
work
your
secrets.
30s. You look beautiful.
Oh, thank you. 55.
Oh my gosh. But I am I feel such a high degree of certainty of like, if I lose this job, there will not be another one for me just because the economy is crap and women over a certain age, it's so hard. I can only imagine being a Black or brown woman over a certain age, it being like astronomically or exponentially harder. I'm very glad you're finding solutions that are working for you. The idea that any company would be ashamed to put your face
Yeah.
forward
That's
as
actually
the
devastating. Oh my God.
Well, being totally honest, I started writing my Substack and Medium because of all the racism and sexism I was facing in the workplace. So it wasn't as if it was the happiest place anyways, but I still wanted to have a job. But after my initial panic last year, which was really tough, now I'm in a really, really good place. And I'm very happy because I know it was going to come anyways because I was older. It was going to come. It wasn't, a matter of if, but more when. So now I'm confronting and surviving. And that's what I do.
That's how I feel right now, Zuri, that I'm like, yeah, how many more months or years will it be until, and then I'm like, yeah, and then I don't know what it will be, but it will be on me. And I think that's one of the reasons that I'm so active here on Substack too, is like how to try to grow a space that can be more than a hobby space, right? Like I love being here because I love writing, I love podcasting, I love building community. And also like, wow, wouldn't it be something if that could be something that helps sustain my life and family financially? But yeah, it's a tough space. Zulfina, I don't know if you want to weigh in on this because
Yes.
you're still a student, right? You're like at the very
Yes.
start of your career.
So I think for me, I won't touch up on work because the work that I do is mostly related to human trafficking and sometimes the digital space with like literacy and technology facilitated gender-based violence. So so far it's just been volunteering. So nothing been that serious. But for me, I've like from a perspective of intersectional feminism, I'm not like I don't feel like people would associate. I don't feel like I can associate myself with like a or like brown or people will call themselves like black women and brown women. But for me, I've kind of like laid in between or kind of like not really because I'm Uzbek and that's Central Asian and that's for like a very minority kind of place because I'm not
Yeah.
because when you say Asian you think of Southern Asian, so you're thinking Indian,
Yes.
Pakistani, Bengali, or you're thinking of Eastern Asian, you're thinking of Korean and Japanese and all of that, and I just sit like right in the middle. So it's always been kind of hard to resonate with other women of color because I'm just kind of like my whole family. My dad looks brown, my mom looks Western, my sister looks full on Korean, and I'm just like I don't even know. So it's been a struggle, but I think at the same time I've had the lens to see beyond what white women see and what Western media sees because I also see the struggle. I resonate more with the struggles of Black women because I live in Dubai and. Mostly in Dubai, and Dubai is a very racist country, and I mean city, and it's like probably for me, I feel like this whole like there's a huge hierarchy here. There's like racism and colorism here. Like the black women and the brown women I have seen in Dubai are in like the lowest of the lowest. Most of them are exploited and they have been trafficked from Africa to be like live-in maids, and that's what I've seen growing up. I see my Indian neighbor who has this maid from, let's say Ethiopia, and they come from an agency, and she doesn't even know how to speak English properly. And this is the perspective I've seen. Is I've seen constantly women of color being in the absolute bottom in Dubai. Yeah.
Mm. I wish I had something to put on top of that, and I just don't. It's
Yeah.
worldwide. It felt for a while like things were getting better, at least for women. I think the question of intersectionality is at least it's a new-ish vocabulary word to me, and maybe that was my own white person ostrich head in the sand. But it here in the States, being Gen X, it just felt like there were freedoms coming and things that felt inviolate that now feel like are being violated. And that window just keeps moving more and more in the wrong direction, right? Like we were saying earlier around, I think Zuri, you said this of like, this is becoming so much more normalized violence against women.
Exactly.
And so we're here today and we're encouraging all of you in the chat, like, don't let these kinds of news moments pass by without acknowledgement. Speak out among your communities. I don't know. Do you all have any final? I think I'm kind of we're at the top of the hour, and I'm trying to come up with some wise words, and words are failing me a little. I would rather go out on a message of hope than one of despair. And I'm wondering if you all have any wise words to send folks off with.
I think my own words to folks is, and I say this in many of my lives, we know about this article Stian wrote, so I think we have a responsibility to spread that information. Each person listening in Substack can do that, because if you just like say, well, that happened, forget it, then you're contributing to the problem of just normalizing it. But if you sort of say this is unacceptable, and you show outrage, and you also have an action plan about what you're going to do, that's how you start making the world a different place. So those are my words. It's not normal. That report is not normal at all. And we shouldn't contribute to making it sound or look normal. That's what
Beautiful. Thank you,
That is
Zuri.
I would also add that I think a lot of people think that holding others accountable or criticizing is just like a threat to progress, but it's like the only way progress becomes real. And if we do not stand for the truth, even when it's uncomfortable, even when we have these moments when we're like, this is the world that we are living in, like we just have to still challenge what other people are saying. We still have to, even if it threatens our own influence, like I feel like our word means nothing if we don't just stand for something.
I agree, even if it threatens our own influence. I will say we've been running the Daily Whatever show for almost a year. Next week, we're having our 1-year anniversary on Friday, the 24th. When I put Find Feminist Hour in the title, consistently our traffic is lower on Thursdays. This is the first Thursday that it hasn't been. So bravo, ladies. And thanks to all of you for being here. I will not stop doing it. I would like Thursdays to be our most popular day, because this is something we all need to care about. And I did it to take, like, words matter, and taking the word feminist back from the dregs of the Erica Kirks is very important. So I'm so glad you were here. Zuri, I always learn so much from your wisdom. Zulfina, I feel so, it's so heartening to see someone so young and eloquent, like picking up this charge and just unapologetically going for it. And I feel like there was a very good parting phrase here that came from Darbid, which was just keep kicking at the darkness.
Oh wow, that's a really good one.
That is a good
I think
fight.
we should end that. We should end it with that.
I think maybe we end it with your words, Darbid. Thank you all. If you all are not already subscribed to Zuri Stevens and to Letters from a Feminist, you got to do it. Please go follow and subscribe to these wonderful women. And we will definitely have you back on the Daily Whatever show, both of you. You are part of our community, and we're so grateful for all the work that you do.
Yeah, Dana, if I could just say one thing.
Please.
I always say, you use your platform, Dana, to elevate others and to elevate women from all over the world. And I just want to thank you for doing that, because that's part of being an ally, is actually using your platform and really, giving visibility to us. So just want to thank you for doing that consistently.
Oh my
I also want
gosh.
to add that you just really give the microphone to women who need it, to women who need their voice needs to be heard, and you platform that on your podcast literally every single week. And more than that, it's just incredible, really.
Thank you. Thank you for seeing that and for acknowledging it, because that will always be true. We have some really cool guests, but especially women guests coming up in the next few weeks that I'm super excited about. Some who are totally new to the Daily Whatever show. So keep on fighting. Keep on kicking at the darkness, y'all.
Thank you so much.
Love you, meet it, everyone. All right, now I needed to go navigate over here in StreamYard to say bye, so I have to stop waving. Let me come over here and.
Bye, Dana. Thank you.
Bye. Oh, this is hilarious. My StreamYard crashed, so I will need to enter the studio to end the stream. Here we go. Bye.